Hey, welcome. How you doing? My name is Murphy Karges, and this is my very first bass lesson. Whenever I start with a new student, anyone who's new to bass, I kind of just go over the guitar and talk about it, like what makes this up, what's this, what do these do, what is that, what do those do, just real simple stuff. And I think it's good to kind of ask all these questions, say what are they? So here we go. So the very first thing, this is the neck. This whole thing right here, this is the neck right here. And then on a top little strip, if you turn and take a look, and you see right here, it's a different color wood. The dark wood here on the fretboard, and the back of the neck is different color. So the top piece, that's the fretboard, and the neck. Then now we've got the individual frets. These little metal things right here are called frets. And how you want to play it is you play it in between them. And that brings up what we call being on fret 3 or fret 5. If you say, I'm on the E string on fret 5. E string on the bass is the low string. So that wouldn't mean you put yourself on actually fret 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that fret. It means the gap. When you're saying I'm on fret 5, that means you're on gap 5. So there you go. On fret means on the gap. Gap 1, gap 2, gap 3, gap 4, and gap 5, you want to be right in the middle there. So there you go. And there's dots, as you see. 99% of guitars in the world are on 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12. And then from there, it can be custom and different. It just helps you kind of pay attention to where you are on the neck. It's just kind of like an anchor point to remember where you might be and memorize the fretboard a little bit as you move along. Okay, so these are the strings, obviously. These 4 strings right here, this is a 4-string bass. There's 5 string, 6, 20 string. I've seen, there's all kinds of crazy stuff for your needs and whatever you desire. I kind of just like the simple 4-string bass. I grew up watching Led Zeppelin and new wave punk rock, rock and roll, and even older stuff like Motown and old rock and roll and Buddy Holly, and well, they played a stand-up, but it was all about the 4-string electric bass to me. So that's what I play. I play the 4-string. So the strings run up here. They run up the fretboard, up the neck. Well, actually, let me go back a second. Go down. A lot of times when I say, okay, go up 2 frets, people will go down. To me, this is going up because the sound increases when you go higher. So this is up the neck, that is down the neck. So as we go down the neck, we go over this little thing right here. If you look at this thing right here, that is called the nut. And now the nut sits at the very end of the fretboard, and the strings ride over it in little grooves. So there's grooves in the nut, and they go through and they go down the middle of each tuning peg. These are actually the tuning pegs right here. And the strings go up and go down, and you tighten it, you wind it, and you turn it on there, and then you get your guitar in tune. I'm going to do a video on tuning separately, but this is the headstock. So we have the tuning pegs, the headstock, the nut, the fretboard, the frets, the neck, and now we come on down here, and we've got the pickups. The pickups are an important part of a guitar because it listens to the sound that your strings are making, and it can color it. It can have more volume, less volume, all kinds of different pickups. This is a split P-bass style. Precision is what is P-bass is short for precision. So this is a split pickup. It's very popular. You'll see it on a lot of basses. Another popular pickup is the long, thin jazz pickup. I have a bass actually that has a P and a J style, precision and a jazz style. So that's the split pickups. And the pickups, they have electronics that run down through to where the chord is going into the bass. And when you hit a note, the pickups listen to that. It transmits down through there and out to your speakers, your studio, wherever you have your stuff plugged in. Right now I'm plugged into my studio. And so what is this right here? This is the pick guard. The pick guard to me serves a couple purposes. To me, it can be a cool design because it can be a different color. And it also covers up where the electronics need to lay and go underneath in the body of the guitar through there. So the pick guard can help you, if you're wailing away on a pick and you don't want to have that be all worn out, then that'll serve that. And it also covers up where the electronics go. So then what are these down here? These little knobs down there, what do you think those are? That's a volume and a tone control. And now there can be all kinds of different stuff. I've seen 2 controllers in one where you select a frequency and then you plus or minus that. I've seen 4, there's selectors, there's switches that can be here to turn off and on certain things like active pickups and all kinds of crazy stuff. This is a very traditional, simple volume and tone. This is where the chord goes. And what's this back here? What's that? This is the bridge. Now, the bridge is where it obviously looks like it's holding the strings going up to where it goes into the tuning pegs. And when you're stringing, pretty much I think it's 99.9%, 100%, you string this way. Maybe, does the Steinberger? No, I think, oh, no, yeah, I think the Steinberger went that way, that bass from the 80s. You string through here, up and over the nut, and then down into the little middle, and then you tune it up. So that's the bridge. And the bridge holds the strings tight to the body, and then that way you can rock and have sound. Okay, so if we flip it over, we can see this is a Bolton Neck. There are basses that are one piece all the way through. Those are cool. They're a little more rare. I think they're more expensive, a little heavier, and some people might love those, but I've just always played Bolton Neck. So the Bolton Neck, and these are where you put the strap, you pull it over, you put it over here, and you can hang it if you want to play while you're standing up and doing that. All right, so that's everything on the bass, and now we're going to do a pop quiz, a little test. You weren't ready for that, were you? Okay, here we go. So see how many you can get right without having to rewind. It's pretty simple. There's just a few things here. All right, so what is this called? This whole thing. And now what about the individual little metal pieces? What are those? What are they? And where do you want to play when you're on this right here? I can't say it because I would have given away an answer. Do you want to play on it or somewhere else? Now what are these called? These right here. What are those called? And what about this little thing? What's that called? Now what about up here? This whole piece. This sort of wood piece. And what type of setup is this with the way the neck and the body attaches? And what about these little things right here that sit underneath the strings? What are those called? And what do they do? What about this little thing that's a different color than the body of this guitar? And those, what about those down there? What are those? Remember what those do? And then this, what's that? All right, so that was everything. And I'm sure you did really good on the test. And I just wanted to go over a real simple video talking about the characteristics and what everything is on the bass so that we can kind of get started and talk about posture, hand position, and how to play some notes and how to start having fun. That's it. Thanks for stopping by. Lesson number 1 is done. See ya. Bye.